Namo Jode de Shabo Rojobo Yotobo Subesan Ribo no Josu Demo Dewa Shabo Jode Jubo de Kalo Jawa Lana Lodon no Jodobo Sanje Jode Bejawo Jojo Dobo no Jansen Jodo Josu Jewo Conse Goni Zo Jodon Sajen de na Gombo de Bone Mane Juden de na Joje Son de Se Gabo Jola Jose Mono Gon Jodo Zozo Yeshe Jazo Seje Bodo Bobo Juden Sona Nangyo Gombo Joni Jola Jose 先就电报直面到一上，先多着我就那相随路，留着见着随报送我去，两面去见就那相随路，广播杜绝接电报，当局准备电报。 念将作业，念先写了相随路。 道边的长者望着，给人民送的主席，几多的当求着我，心就成了相随路。多年这月那样的，老爸到老好多年。 先给当播音点点，跟对那样相随路。 六八这样们着急，给我别送走过去，让给三年用速的，两年三季的报应，干嘛着这么没动，就嘛是我吃不动，没让落到知道不？多些就能得到，是能的也当觉是报应。 我们当年就着的钱，老当老当前边老主意，随便说来着我着我有天的。No, this no, I can't. Yeah, no, you this is it. Okay. Yes, sound controls and then go.
Okay. Thus I have heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling on the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight and so on until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance and so on up to no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, Since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata, Om Gate Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi Soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva Venerable Avalokiteshvara that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sharadbhatiputra and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
面对了我的老妖一面，我的早夜那么人不，大概是我别的就那，大致先别过的结束的，过送多久我中做多数，便说给了下月准备过。大愿卓越人王公耶颂，马列西家俱皆随别多，下决所我的拉所瓦的，多觉全部的心多觉成，求在的罗巴达那罗巴，边疆中边巴达阿底上。鸟类新乐俱拉所瓦的，上巴中面一年当中的，着的的当着边边，西藏各山的年所年吧，条件是边俱拉所瓦的。朝阳月面兄弟乐中当，大王这把日别可就见，三界观众泡泡有色素，萨摩大业俱拉所瓦的，协助当边穷阿地上，嘎当天边面波中正见。念就能接过去送了送，嘎当拉玛当拉索瓦的，刚接心的自己送阿宝，我到这边我说接啥的，当天边到不开着的，要是就把这拉索瓦的。就算跟的那么多节长，看了跟的些年是多年，就当天梦公主存在的，这些那么那了说我的，让将送了跟了大爷们，给上他帮这边就安住。在边这边打开这把眼，生在些年难了说完的，叫我更多样的那么多，这面去这边了龙学经，撒当能这应的肉多。将月过波娘多多三界就所界就能拿将就不多少年就所见八月去见这边所能见多了偏心三界诸波修三界修所界就能拿将就不多少年就所见八月去见这边所能见多了偏心三界诸波修三界越能所见就能拿将就不多的要所见大愿去见这边所能见多了偏心三界诸波修哎
Here, let me move the chair over there. I can't sit on the floor. Though.
啊，快点得洗呢，我给我，哎，好，什么，这什么的，OK，哎呀，弄快点当下个，我这差的，哎，当我这点了，点呢，告诉我去青年节。去青年的对阵的门道啊，你这是搞来的了，搞来就是搞来就从那讲到通过，这个讲到了，你搞来的是家不是？那操全部人了。
So we're here to receive the teachings of the Dharma. So teachings of the Dharma always require some sacrifices. So as such, we're a little bit hot here right now. So we're sacrificing our time of being in a cool place. In fact, we're just sacrificing ourselves here to listen to the teachings of the Dharma.
당가 지시 제목 거잖아요. 되게 차대는 게 제. 근데 랑게 되게 나가 되는 덤버 투명 볼랑 레지가 남아만 짓고 되게 대야 되는 지 가서 거 아니 랑이 지 컨트롤 된 데셔서 지로 또 소소 되도 있다는 이게 미바체와이나 소화돼서 레치시 근데 랑게 되는 컨트롤 저 데레싱이 라니 뭐니 랑게 연되는 저 다 파만이 저베기는 다에 신제 강가 되는 지 가서 근처에 된전 저당 내질량 창저스는 요소도 봐. 된대신이 라니 비에서 이제 저와이나 다 되니긴 저 강가 된대신은 아니 저는 가르치긴 비에서라네. 예니 저희가 소 강가 된데 대화도 된다라. 아니 저희도 너무 초점은 근처에 된대신 봐. 예스. 근데 이제는 맞아. 가르치고서는 여러 것이 소하게 나리 전부 친해지게 눈이 저기 있어요.
So here to begin with, as usual, let's visualize Buddha Shakyamuni in the space at the level of one's forehead, who is then surrounded by all those great beings of the Lam Rim lineage masters. And it's not just, one should not just think of just visualizing, but one should think of, one is actually invited them. This is more effective and it's more beneficial if one think of just invited them as we normally invite a very important guest. And then one is being in their presence and surrounded by all other sentient beings, including one's parents, relatives, and so on. And so with this, by inviting Buddhas and all those lineage gurus, and what is the purpose? What is the purpose of inviting them? And to be as a very important guest. Why is that? Why we're inviting them is now, we're inviting them, and so we are taking this opportunity to engage in the discussions of the Lama Tsongkhapa's great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment. So your very purpose of inviting all the Buddhas and the lineage gurus, as well as sentient beings, is for this purpose. In order to generate extraordinary feelings, let's take a couple of minutes to remain focused on this visualization.
Aye. Dandru Tendri Kilon Chiba Jayana, Constant Basay Chile, Shancho Lam Rim Chenmo. They know Shancho Lam Rim Chenmo, teaching Mazoye. And Sanja Yisala Dogona, Shobata, Ni Dabagain, Shoba Chidane, Damazu Kunzo Shanchu said. And Damazu Kosovo, Yanda Shanchu says. Then Shanchu says in the Nangati. Tandamatunji then taking to the Sandu shares on Yosu Zoba the year Yamari. And Sanji Common year Yamari. Ro, Quantage Naja Tachi, the year Yamari saying, Rani Cheba Chesaki. And Karsawata. When a Naja tell it how many picture on saying, Nangash, which cut to kill you.
With these motivations or the special feelings, the teachings that we are receiving today, or discussing on the very important topics of great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And it actually teaches us how one can take an initiative of gaining state of complete enlightenment. It says just as the birds requires two wings to fly, similarly, to attain state of complete enlightenment requires conventional bodhicitta, which is actual bodhicitta, and also the ultimate bodhicitta, which is wisdom realizing emptiness, which what we are actually currently discussing on. In this particular chapter of discussions on the wisdom, it talks about how this cyclic existence and nirvana, samsara and nirvana exist, in what manner that it really exists, how possible it is to gain state of complete enlightenment, how every phenomena actually exists, what is actual mode of existence of things and event, and so on. So this is a very important topic that we are actually, discussing in accordance with the teachings taught by the great master Lama Tsongkhapa.
Kunzo Shanchu Sansana, the Chulu, Tawa and Jairs, a lot of years. The Shanchu Sansana, you can be near Sitila Babi, Tawa Chirimado, young Nasori Cotonesi, Yosha Jinimeri. Kesitel Yosha, the Noja Bejet on the Yosha Mado, Kunshi just on the Yosha to Yamado.
Well, when we talk about the conventional bodhicitta, one can talk about different way of accepting it. However, when it comes to the ultimate bodhicitta, we cannot just, our acceptance of ultimate bodhicitta, analysis of ultimate bodhicitta, it's not very much based on what we think about it, but rather it is based on our own intelligence or the correct reasonings.
다 된게 따와 때나 배상에게는 상주 랑 친구 전에 자유 사제 시제. 아니 조금 좀 받던 배신 제법이 쳐와지. 담반에 랑게 제 자유 라면 바지. 아니 뒤에 뒤에서야나 남아 대다게 대해서는 돈에 대바지. 니바들라 가서 쳐왔는다 되게 쳐라니지. 맞다. 취지 쳐왔지 다인 바지. 니바 손바들라니 쳐왔는다 되게 쳐라니지 제다 잡아지. 아니 니바티 카톨라니 게 단질라는 상추 세니 고아되는 도체. 아니 손바텔라니 말을 추시네라니 양내 제소나 아니 교로 가르가르 제거세 양가체. 아니 손바텔니 지바텔니 종모지는 주시지.
So as usual, let's begin our discussions on this topic, the teachings, by reading through this four major outlines as usual. the first outline is the greatness of the authors given in order to show the teachings as a noble source. For that, if possible, one should think of all the noble qualities of the great teachers, beginning from the Buddha himself all the way to one's own root guru. And next is the showing the greatness of the teachings in order to engender respect for the teachings. And the third is how to listen to the teachings in which both the teachings and its authors are great. This will then be followed for the fourth outlines, the sequence in which the disciples are to be taught the actual instructions.
사코로 던지게 중정다고 지기도는 수수 카랑으로 미바다고 지자다 아니 삼발로 소화제 투는다고 삼발로 소화제 투소나 아니 그 라시지 맞아 가서 명어 jambo 샴보 자침부 차 백개 jambo 인지미지 최지 진행자와라 나는 사제 손지 뭐 말해 근데 소소기 니자 추지기 나오라 리셋의 백개 jambo.
So here, our primary purpose of engaging in the practice of Dharma is to subdue or pacify one's negative state of mind. For that, it doesn't really require very external sort of resources of the Dharma texts such as Lam Rim and so forth. But one should reflect inwardly, the way we think about and the way we, consider ourselves as who we are and so forth, and try to get a special kind of feeling inside, and always try to, reflect inward, so inwardly, and this inward reflection will really broaden our perspective and really change our way of looking at the world.
맞아. 이제 산나도는 생각이 온보도 마시도 되어라. 자들 정황도 해야 되지. 자들 디니컬 생각하고 차고. 소소지 이제 산나도 발라 되는 생각 차고 되면 때지만 지 정황도 생각에 가능도 생각에 드리지 이제 산나도 발라 되는 지 종로 저와이나 근데 라니라 칼로네 저다 때스 뱀비다.
By applying all those reasonings, a reflection of inner reflection should not be random, but it should be based on application of valid reasonings. It says, so with this valid reasonings, when one reflect inwardly, and this will then really give you a special feeling. Sometime, one will be saddened by one's way of thinking and the way you look at the world and so forth. And then sometimes you have something that is extraordinary, feeling something that cannot be explained, that cannot be expressed in words. And that indicates that you are actually, making a progress in your spiritual practice. So the fourth outline has a two subdivision of its own, which are how one should rely on the teachers, the teacher, which is spiritual teacher, which is the root of one's spiritual path, and how the students then train their mind after having relied on a spiritual teacher.
다 로바 로베 림바 니 셰발라 니 셰바 쩔라나 잖아 마 테바 쳔바 쩔라나 잖아 쳔바도 도제 테바도 세지 엄발라서 샹선에 로바 론데 잖아 장네 제세 좀좀 존에 제단에 수예지 엄마니 제사 다 존에 제단에 비서니 강라로 비제 텔로바는 비제 나 텔로로 비 림바 니 셰바 텔로베 림바 니 셰발라 니 셔바 쩔라다도 쳔바도 파신 타마니랑 뭐 세지 다 도모디사 다 파신 타마니랑 너 지가 주를 신내다 나도 변시고 신내다도 뭐 대니가 대니 띵엔지 그게 디제 된바 대니가 광급이 진세 고랭에 뭐 소수로 세지 다 도모디사 다 소수로지라니 신내로지 하동로 세지 다 도모디사 다 하동로지 소 하동지错的嘛하동로도要하동 강비지 강비 하동도 세지 다 도모라 니送长点的年代就送了我说绿洲我们去觉得就有可能东北年就到店了没多少东北年就啥那东北年就到店了没送有可能你们就别人把的有可能店了对不对我你东北了你东北了送你搞像我们这个比较在你搞像在他让讲一路写吧你店了店呢你写吧店了店呢到底了就这些다 동물로서 가장 먼저 그 진짜 가장 먼저 그 진로가 봐. 이런 로 잡아. 아치. 다 가서 거서 봐봐. 근데 오미 떠와 때라 배발라 가장 먼저 고레스. 근데 가장 먼저 마트 봐. 근데 현재 루가 봐. 아세. 맞아 돈이 또 비시 하동질에 집에 온다 다나. 너무 돈이 또 그러. 돈이 또 발라 가장 먼저. 가장 먼저 뭐 진로가 봐. 아세.
So at this point, we are on the chapter of how one can gain the realization of the view of middle way. So in which in order for one to gain a realization of the middle way, one should first to understand the object of refutations and importance of identifying unmistaken object of refutations. Object of refutation is something that is very important because in order for one to attain a special insight or achieve special insight, one needs to gain intuitive realization of emptiness. So, to gain intuitive realization of emptiness, one should first understand and identify this object of negations. It is through negating the object which is to be negated, which needs to be negated, one then gain that special insight. One then gain that special insight into the emptiness, which enables one to achieve what is called special insight.
아니 컨센 거스 보고 가르러서는 또 주타 엄마도 엄마 탄저에 가자다 가서나 아니 소소 주천나 탄예든 저투고 민도로서 근데 당로를 예 되게 돈이 집에 가다 소소 주천나 아니 엄마 탄저에 당신 장시 주투가 가연베 가라 탄예되면 뭐 차도 그러서는 아니 엄마 탄저에 전요 말했지 되게 돈이
So the actual discussion that we are having and we previously had was the Buddhist essentialists are actually, criticizing the middle way by saying that when you negate the all phenomena as a lack of inherent existence, when you negate across the board lack of inherent existence, then you are unable to establish the conventional or the nominal phenomena. So then what that then one is returning, one is answering to, one is actually responding to their criticism by saying that there's no faults at all. This will not happen. So then it is the Madhyamaka's turn to explain how that negating of all phenomena as a non-inherent existence was not negating that, it doesn't negate the actual existence of phenomena or the conventional phenomena.
대단한 엄마 탄주 대단한 엄마 베사 타녀도 랑게 룰라 콘데 진나자 몽보시 조바 당 뭐뭐 나제 랑게 되바 티모 많이 베 답이 되나 타녀도 여병 고친데다 신덕가에 덴바니 진나바 잡아 시제 말로바 또바 시타탄 하고 소리 이제 또 많이 왔어.
그래서
응?
스들좀 영어 스들에도
어?
그래서 이 그생 공을요 you can you can tell you
알까지 뭘 하대.
네 lawyer test 하듯이 그렇지.
야, 이거 참.
So I think I haven't completed reading the previous during our previous sessions. So that's maybe a paragraph or half. So let's read first from page 175. And it's still, so let's begin from that. Let's reading from where we stopped during last sessions. Still, it is not contradictory to point the same conventional truths. Chandrakrita's commentary on the middle way says that because ignorance obscures the nature of phenomena, we call it the concealers. Hence, there is no contradictions in something being true for the concealers. That is ignorance and false for the conventional consciousness, with which we refute the essential existence in phenomena. The statement in Chandrakrita's explanation of the middle way commentary, whatever is false, even conventionally, is not the conventional truth, refers to the conventional valid cognition, which realizes that things like reflections being an actual phase of as the actual phase of false. It cannot refer simply to forms such being false in conventional terms. Now, chapter 14 here, the conventional existence, here we read, in this way, we mathematical present conventionally within our own system many presentation of cyclic existence and nirvana. We also refute the conventional existence of the constructs that are put forward as a unique assertion by the essentialists, as this is extremely difficult and accurate knowledge of the presentation of the two truths scarcely exist.
안디제. 되게 단단 내가 다니게로 되더래. 엄마 탄저와게 루이 가샤데 가위디 좋다 엄마 탄제 탄예든 조 시바네 신드는 가와래서. 봐. 양산 홍 타질 홍도고. 이 고하들 내면 돼.
So when the mathematical Prasangicas, when they refute when they actually negate the object of negations, then Buddhist essentialist will not get it. It is very hard for the Buddhist essentialist would really get into the points. They will not be able to get the point, and it is very hard for them to comprehend the way the Madhyamaka Prasangika is negating its object of negation.
텔레콜하시는 주된 코로나용은 주바 디자인에나 주조투면도 시대래.
For instance, if they argue by saying that if the form doesn't exist at all from its own side, and there is no way that we can establish form. That's how the Buddhist essentialists are arguing.
맞아 시라니 보는 주메 세테 매바데 탄제 윤도바다지 가샤가비 슈데니라 탄제 자절 하고바데 엄마 탄제 유더와 맞아 시라니 뭐 주메 세테 다치긴 바켈레나 맞아 지금 말어 가려요 말해서 로고를 좋아하거나 주 정문을 두고 디자인요 말해서 내자도 그러.
So therefore here the Madhyamaka Prasangika's way of saying there's no form. It's not that that actually Madhyamaka Prasangika is negating actual existence of the form. This is not, however, this is, however, not so. When we look at the Heart Sutras, which we are all familiar with, where we read that form doesn't exist. There's no form, in other words, what we call. There's no form. That doesn't mean that Madhyamaka Prasangika is saying that the form doesn't exist at all, because the form doesn't exist, that there's no form, that indicates negating object of negations, which is what doesn't exist. Then it is, there's no such existence of its own side. Even atom, or from the side of even the slightest side of the form, doesn't exist inherently or its own side. That is what is meant by there's no form.
Oma tanje yu tawa nye bade sita tangde sondwa jirambuchi. Ta jirambuchi kono shubi kala omi tawa nye ta oma jitsen ren karsa. Lama oma pali lachi mendorwa jitsen ren dawa oma pali lachi teyu kala gashan ganzi tu merwa. Tenri ji gaja tatu bade jirambuchi nye na yang jitsen jambe yang la kandi si tanda te omi ta oma tanje tawa mi seng yu kala hana jirambuchi shubi kala mei shatu jino omi tawa nye de peche.
So that's why it says here, as this extremely difficult, accurate knowledge of the presentation of the truth would scarcely exist. So it says that really tells us when we talk about the Madhyamaka Prasangika's view. So Madhyamaka Prasangika's view during the time of Lama Tsongkhapa, it seems that there isn't many practitioners who have gained the realization of Madhyamaka Prasangika's view. Even in the presence of his own teacher, Madhyamaka's teacher, such as Lama Umapa and Chichen Rendawa, even Lama Tsongkhapa has his own teacher who actually taught him this Madhyamaka's view. Lama Tsongkhapa has to ask all these important questions to Manjushri in order for him to understand the Madhyamaka Prasangika standpoint. So that really indicates there isn't many at that time who have the realization of the Madhyamaka Prasangika's view.
The Pio Kanchen John Lord Mother Dijimara. Pio Kanchen John Lati call Omi Tawani, the Sita Tang, the Civil Sejari, the General Chisunda. Sita Tang is the Shuji Tere, which is near Messia.
It's very clear at that time in the land of snow, in other words, and in Tibet, the land of Tibet, there isn't many who had this realization of Madhyamaka Prasangika's view.
Detangma mai depa no kyunzo de yobon gopa na repi sheba shene ga go la rangi kyunzo do changa la soba yoba kelen ba to denji kelen ke malepa ne juje yeme yela ya repi jesen jangwa la to so de
Eso se puede ver.
No, this is the Naga shooting. I thought that's more by getting the show at Mayimba. Jerome Chigima Cheba Chibicola, Pia Ron Yubitoni, Roa. But the Kepi, not your picture on Bitoni, any Jason Roa, and Dogger Mato, Teji, Shono, the Chichi Ketchamariso at the Roa. Repeat Jason Ron, the Tursos allow you to call Tanju, you're the man singing the Ni Tower in the Ketcham Mibache. And the Kepi Kelling with Duja Yumeta. They are repeat Jason Dogger allow you to.
So here now let's read the text where it says, misunderstanding may arise as follows. When we refute the conventional existence of the construct that the essentialists assert, we must carry out the refutation using rational analysis, which is really telling. If you look at this passage, but refuting using the rational analysis, here the way of Lama Tsongkhapa's acceptance of the Madhyamaka's view is very much, it's completely using his intelligence and using all those rational analysis. And the analysis is not a random analysis, but rather it is a rational analysis and a valid analysis based on the valid reasonings, which is really, really important point such as Lama Tsongkhapa was making here.
Antichi. Ngaso ngaso tanda ngaro so ngene chana chöchö do ngaso tanda ro sandu de kende to chöchö chebi sor jiro. Ta desu ni yo na nga yo si kande do. Ni nga ngone yo re yamar tanda ngani tuta do ngom kesi ma shi yo jero. Ni so so ngade ha le do do sandu go de do tung do. Tiki na ja ta ka je. Ngone chi so so ge sa chi na ji ji yeng ji re do de mi do. 라니 타년도 요요래 간주 요래 아니 대한다고 요요 말했어요 집어지 제고로 뭐 저저저 쇼진로도 맞다.
So unlike we in other words, sort of here, just think about we ourselves. We are almost like we're taking for granted. We are not going through any analysis when we have all kind of activities, our basic activities, our daily basic activities, such as eating, going, sitting, drinking, and so forth, right? All this are really, we have never asked a question to ourselves. We have never applied any analysis, the rational analysis of how all those activities and actor myself exist, in what manner that really exists. Is that really exists the way in which that really appears to me? Is it really exist conventionally or does it really exist ultimately? So we should actually have go through the analysis in this way. However, we are not doing it.
아래 뛰어서냐네 알레 치빈도아 뛰어서냐네 리베시바시나 랑게 켈란데 켄조 바난다사 뭐뭐 나지 켄타바니 리베나나 내냐다 메네냐도 손에 온슈다 조라서바 타니도 메바데나 줄라서바 메바 켈란고 대타니도 여나 온슈라서바다 켈랭고바니 총아 통데 추 강랑 상게 루진 대인단 데미 무슨다 켄네 찌양 샤메롱알라 오미테 코나니 롱신 된다이 고와당 제스 튠비 찌양 민제번 조바 조바타 넘버타비 대야 감반데바네 신도 모완 항어 된다원 대다네 케방 거와치 땅도 menante son menante ale menante to ale ti gane chilor de shinda ma hang so de je jian sang de ngin de jian sang de chue gi de de jian sang me ma do de ja do ne ja
ye to 저기 덴데믹스 바도르 덴데케 샤면 돌 제데
아 세
아빠님과
인도
So moreover, says in taking their own stance on the matters such as existence of conventional production and cessation, reflective individuals will decide what to assert according to what can be proven, and proof is based in a sequence of reasonings. Taking this into considerations, some feels that under rational analysis, the proposed conventions of production, etc., and that imaginary construct of the essentialists have the same status as either contradicted or not contradicted by the reasons. Thus, if they deny the conventional existence of the constructs such as a divine creator or the primal essence, then they must also deny the conventional existence of the form and such. If they hold the forms forms do exist conventionally, then they would also have to accept the existence of the divine creators. They see those two as equivalent. They say that it is inappropriate for their own system to identify or assert of any phenomena. This is such and such. This is not such and such. They presume they presume in this they have found the mathematical reality. Further, in accordance with such understanding, they hold that establishing your mind without apprehending anything, all conventional of the genuine mathematical view. There are a great many of those who assert this.
Ante che nge de nga sa den de ke jago kola sholo ne nam ju sen da ta tong chi ya po chi ma ja wa na da jo mo chen de shu ji ja ge ne de ge chona yo si la da na je mo chen ye ti ta wa o mi ta wa te la ma te ba to ka ji o ma ra ji pe ta wa ga na do tu yo ma de me tu na se te da na ha ba to ji ya yi la me shen ge ta wa ko no lo o mi ta wa yin sa ma ba chen ne o mi ge ta wa ga ma yin sen ge shin de ma do son do ne.
So when I'm saying here over and over again about how the Lama Tsongkhapa's view, mathematical view, is a very profound view. It is a true mathematical Prasangika view. I'm not being partial at all. I'm using my own intellect and understanding how the reasonings, the rational reasonings and intellects they're used by the Lama Tsongkhapa, and based on that, what I'm boldly claiming that mathematical Lama Tsongkhapa's view of mathematical Prasangika is something that is very profound, because at that time, during the Lama Tsongkhapas, there isn't many beings who had this, who had the genuine realization of mathematical Prasangika's view, not further than mathematical Swadantika's view. In fact, so much so there are many who actually holds the nothingness and or something that doesn't exist at all is considered as a ultimate view of mathematical Prasangika. There are so many of them upholding this nothingness as the mathematical Prasangika's view.
Tele kode wa shen na pene ji zu yi tin da ne zu de la ne demba tu da da tu ma ju ye cheba che bi ka la ne su shu ge tanye de zun jo ma che tanye de zun jo bi ka la ya zu demba tu ma jo sho sha ne ne ka yan jo sa me ne ye lo chi la de o me ta wa re se ne de la o me ta wa gam ba yin se ne ne pe mo mo do den ji ge gam ba de ne kya ba ga bo che be ge ta ma re kya ba go wa chi de ta de na de so do.
So therefore, it says, it is evident that such talk does not please the learned scholars, in other words, the great scholars, it says, because when those who have not, who have not actually understood the view of mathematical Prasangikas, when they establish a form, for instance, and when they establish a form, it's very hard for them to establish actual existence of the form. Because when they establish the conventional form, then they tend to, grasp onto it as a true existence of its own side. And then when they establish a form as a lack of ultimate existence, they tend to lose their conventional existence of the form. So therefore, it was very hard for those beings to be able to establish the actual mode of existence of the form at that time. So therefore, if we have this kind of confusion of regarding the existence of the form, conventional existence of the form, and ultimate existence of the form, then it is evident that such talk does not please the learned.
맞아 뭐च्या들 예미미미 따와서는 하상이 따와된 데는 살아리다 하상이 가지 따와 되는 만데나 되게 엄마 탄저기 따와 타도가 되는 팽이지 이제는 뭐지 이 강나 페면도 아 페 여서 말하고 맞아 봐시는 예 살아고요 베제 들어가서 생이나 간제 벽 간제 전에 간제 신도 주제 좀 한번 송 거예요 이제 전에 사바도 아니 상하 노로라 아니 가서 다 요새도 줄리 때도 당 아니 오미게 따와 되니 장시지 마주베지 지기 때문에 타년도 조치 때 디시토노나 아니 저런 뭐지네지 내가 인산의 간제 신도 주제 좀 봐봤을 때 신다기 수행제기 centro de sondo ye mindo sa de tanda nga so medite la ne o me tawa ten la ko ba ki tuta ris ma chi ba yon so ba te ne o ma ra ji bi tawa tarani la chi wa me se ne re do te che de ta nga so an ne che bi jin se ke cha de ke ma re da ran shi ji jo ba ko na ji kya len so na ne te pi ji la de so de ji ma to te de ji kya ne mu tu so ni ji nga so go ji le do
So at that time in Tibet, there are many who upholds this view of not non-existence and nor existence, and claiming such view as a view of Madhyamaka's ultimate view of Madhyamaka. So therefore, it is very evident that there isn't many who upholds the actual view of Madhyamaka at that time. So this Lama Tsongkhapa, who after the emergence of the Lama Tsongkhapa, who actually established this Madhyamaka Prasangika's view, both Prasangika's view as well as the tantric teachings on illusory body and the clear light, along with the teachings of the Madhyamaka Prasangika's view. And so it is for this Lama Tsongkhapa is known as the pioneer or the trailblazers of this land of the land of snow, because at the time the preferred Lama Tsongkhapa emergence in Tibet, they have accepted no difference no difference in terms of the views between Madhyamaka Prasangika and Madhyamaka Swatantika. And so if this is the case, then when you think about it right now, even if we ourselves, when we go through the Lama Tsongkhapa's text and think about, if you accept there is something that exists inherently, then it is very hard for one to possess the dependent originations. How can we actually accept dependent origination? It's something that exists in and of itself, something that exists inherently.
늦을 따야 될 소소기 나나원도 그러면 이제 생각이 많이 봐요. 나 이치가 문제 세야 돼. 이제 매매게 제세다 나주 비교 돈에 아니 주대체 되나 저버제지마도 지 뒤속이 맞아서는 뭐지 느껴 봐도. 매비 걸다 아버 나한테 선을 지내나요. 아니 용들이 지기는 하니 타신 바 지제네. 아니 뭐네 가샤 생긴데 느릿지도 두 번째 용금 민도 생기게 아니 소소게 나저 배제도는 가봐 저도 임바텔라 아니 소소게 제카치라야 지레마도 슈노 코로이 몸도나 아니 다다다와 댄시로 소인 데라와 이 댄젤레 라와레 계속나 다다다와 댄도나마도 다다다와 야는 거예요 말
So it is not that I don't like this view, and this is not, my way of accepting view without having any rational, having any rational analysis, without application of any reasonings. It's not an appropriate way of finding the views. To find the views must be based on a valid reasonings by using one's own intelligence, and then going through the teachings of teachings of all those great masters of the Madhyamaka, great masters of the Madhyamaka. Because it is through this one will be able to then make a sense to what our negation of the inherent existence of things in event. Otherwise, if it's just by being partial, and this is such and such is my own way of accepting because this is such and such great person that I really admire has said this and that, was not going to work at all. This is not a valid way of actually finding your Madhyamaka's view. If one's acceptance of one's Madhyamaka's view is based on this, then one is actually going outside of dependent originations. If one goes outside of dependent originations and try to find the Madhyamaka's view, then this will actually stabilize further one's own grasping at self and grasping at phenomena. Let's take a 10 minutes of break.
그래서 이제 저런 사람이 좀 돼도 소소소소이나 시대에서 년보다 내가 같은 데서 뜻을 내 가슴이 말라네 뭐 따져 보슬라다.
So if you own this Lam Rim textbook, if you have it, it's your own, so you can highlight those important passages, important lines that when you find, and it will be very beneficial.
아니 제가 그 소소게 오미 이꼴라 때문에 여비 걸라라. 아니 카투텔 오미 가자이나 간지 거사르세 베걸라. 니 나를 첨부는 시카모. 니 티카토라 데리타들이 제절 세나인 텔레페쇼로 되는 편도야. 오미 따원을 질을 때 힘들지 제거이나 이제 비지 대를 질을 때 아니 대노로 오신로시 제는 산나 도시 도시 제는 말 계셔 주신 제시 제네. 아니 강적으로 따원이에로.
This will really helpful when one is going through the teachings or receiving the teachings on emptiness, and then one can open the book, the textbook of Lam Rim Chenmo, the great teachers on the stage of the path, the Lam Rim Chenmo, and then if you are not very clear about the object of negation and so forth, so you can just open it and then look at the section where it discusses about object of negation in the Lam Rim Chenmo. And this is how we should always practice and to understand the view of the middle way view, because just listening one time is not enough. Just read and ask the questions, analyze yourself, and how we identify the object of negations will then really benefits us.
네, 주로 뭐 저기 오미 따왔다나 표시죠. 내가 치수제되네. 하도 전문다. 엄마 공부하러서다. 사실 그렇지. 저는 문제 나고도. 근데 작년 레슨보다 제대. 오미 따왔다나 표시죠. 내가 치수제를 데리는 거 주로 뭐 저기. 하도 전문은 깨달아요.
So the very important texts written by the Lama Tsongkhapa on the middle way view, the view of Madhyamaka Prasangya, Madhyamaka's view, is one of the important texts is Abong Rinpoche, which is the special insight, which we are discussing currently with Lam Rim Chenmo, in Lam Rim Chenmo. And there's another book called Cultivating, which is the clearing the thoughts of Madhyamaka's commentary. And then there's another very important book is the text written by the Lama Tsongkhapa is a commentary on the root text of the Madhyamaka by Nakshona.
Dichi. Tangani Tanji Timba, Tendoa, Tendoan de Dane, Kepa Guachi, Tante Menante, Mashibata, Ripi Gajang, Mazimba, Janjin Gopi, Zipe, Tani bin Namba Jaba, Tanji Jiba, Sheve, Yanda Bitawa Down, Lupi Tawa, no, no ma Kasa, Tawa no, no, the Mana, no, Sumi. 世间路边大瓦全部因为小了，别那，点着我人都工匠样，特别大瓦那军事讲年人民着也，马你是民着啊，马是人都着的，看得就点着就南巴下巴汤去，让给路了容易点中给浪了，切现在给我因为小了，我说的这是明啊些呢。
So let's read through the text again. It's evident that such talks does not please the learned. For having failed to identify the object negated by reasons and explained above. Those who say this use the argument that refute intrinsic existence to destroy all presentation of the conventionalities. Consequently, theirs is a highly inaccurate position. It treats the correct view and the wrong view as the same in the degree to which they are mistaken or non-mistaken. As a result, prolonged habituation to such a view does not bring you the least bit closer to the correct view. In fact, it takes you further away from it. For such a wrong view stands in the direct contradiction to the path of dependent arisings, the path which all of the teachings on the dependent arisings of the cyclic existence and nirvana are tenable within our system. Therefore, Chandrakirti's commentary on the middle says.
Rajila Cheng China, Tegrimato, Tematena, Rashi Koba Yumbicola, Tanya the Gado, Tanya the Gana, Yandava Noah, the Manoa, Yambari Sala Yumbicola, Omi Yetawa, you show Corona Dogma is. Omi Yetawa, the Shishu, as attended the Vanasumana Giri, and Chuji Ten Shishu, you ring Yawa, Tenshi, Shishu and Belbas and Data Tower Tenshiro City, Taran Chagre is. Gashang Zimatuna, do the Chena.
So here, so long as one is unable to identify that intrinsic existence or inherent existence is as an object of negations, and regardless of how much effort one may put forth to have to gain a realization of the ultimate view of Madhyamaka, is not possible. So therefore, without identification of this object of negations, when one is establishing, when one is denying the inherent existence of even the conventional existence, then one will not be able to establish the nominal existence. You are actually negating the inherent existence of the conventionalities, conventional phenomena. You will not be able to establish the nominal existence, because so long as you are unable to negate this inherent existence with the application of correct reasonings, one will not be able to have the perfect view of emptiness. Without having the perfect view of emptiness, regardless of how much effort that you may put forth to gain for achievement of the wisdom realizing emptiness, one will not be able to gain this. One will not be able to gain the realization of the ultimate view of the middle way. So, so it is for this. It says, it will take, without proper identification of negation, object of negations, and so it will, and then not having the right view, then one's approach of view, the understanding of views will take further from the correct view. But rather it says establish, it will strengthen the establishment of grasping at self, and grasping at self of person, and grasping at self of phenomena. That's all.
Nye tangi lai ba, omi tawa tenla pepe ko la ji chuta sonde ta chulu kecha ngundi jini cheja man. Ko yu ngumbi nesi tenla pepe ko ra. Oma se na taji manhungi chile de kecha re ma do, ngaso sho da koso sho kecha jini marwa. Yu ngumbi nesi tenla pepe to ne, chile nego re se de ra, oma se. Chile kare nego sana, tanya do yoba ji gore, 라시지 마주 가지 그래. 대니기 때도 컨텐츠 나자 단지 조투네 지고 봐.
So when we talk about the middle way, the middle way view, or the mathematical view, we're not actually talking about the different religions or different philosophical tenets, right? Because we are establishing the actual, reality of things and event. That doesn't really require any other, different religions or the different philosophical tenets. It is through application of one's own reasonings, by using one's own intelligence, one will be able to establish this, reality of things and events. And so that is what we call the middle way. Not we are meant to maintain middle way. Someone who is maintaining middle way is who has not actually fallen into extreme views of either right or left, but rather maintaining a middle way. So that's the way we need to accept is to one's very acceptance of mode of existence should not be out of the range, out of the fence of the nominal existence or the conventional existence, nor it should be it should be and exist intrinsically or inherently. Rather, it should be within the boundary of conventional existence and negation of inherent existence will then take you will take you to be in the middle way, on the middle way, sorry.
Ante. Anil haba da ngaso nyale che na to baranji la bena ngenjo gi sen ngenjo gi lo da shangchu gi sen ranji la yo na ya. Tonyu to lo me na chonan ding ga na do tuya kha ya ma. Ani sa na sa po de tonyu to lo ne tonyu to lo yo mo pro gore. Ani dela haba de shene da ha to me wa ina ko susu ju sa na chonan chung me che lo kora je de je ma do gasi me go gasi shangchu sa ma ina la di ro sa ko yo ma.
So, moreover, without having this proper understanding of wisdom realizing emptiness, or proper realization of wisdom realizing emptiness based on mathematical Prasangikas, then one will not be able to gain the spiritual realization further than the middling, accumulation of path, middling accumulation of path, because when we talk about, transition from advancing or the transition from one bhumi to another bhumi is based on the development of the progression of the wisdom realizing emptiness based on Madhyamaka Prasangika. So therefore, it's and also that without proper practice or the perfect practice of shamatha and or the calm abiding along with the special insight, one will not be able to further one's realizations of the accumulations of path of accumulations, regardless of how how much the profound realization that you may have in the conventional bodhicitta, one will not be able to further one's realizations or further one's bhumi from part of accumulation to the part of preparation and so on.
Dei shebe ji kuman jo ba le me shi ni je ro ju tin mu jin na je dan ni ji yen ta ba tang ju ma mi je la ju ma mi je so la ta ba kang de da ji ten le je yu mi je mi ti bin de ba de ba tu mo ma yin ba ma chang ba ta ran de ngo mo na jun de ba tu mo ma yin ba ni ma yin be ta ba na ran ge kyo zo de yang ne de do kyo zo de yang ne do ji xie song be de xie ba xiao de la ta ni do yo ba ta ni do ka sa ta ni do yo ba de ba ta me ba de ba ne jin da xi la go jin da xi la jin da xi ge guo ne jo ba yin nyang na sa de pe na ga chen bo ta ga de ta ni do ye cui se de ma ro ta da ga ta ni do ye me ge se ta ni do ye na ga de ji yo go se de guo de ni zu yo de ga ni ji lo sha ji.
So the commentary on the Middle Way says, the self as it is imagined by the non-Buddhist philosophers who are disturbed by the sleep of ignorance and things that are ascribed to mirages or magicians, illusions, and so forth, do not exist even for the world. He says that, well, what is imagined in the unique assertions of the non-Buddhist philosophers, or according to earlier citations in the unique assertions of the Buddhist essentialists, does not exist even conventionally in our Madhyamaka systems. I'll explain this point. How one determine whether something exists conventionally, which is very, very important here. It really talks about, how do we, when we talk about things that exist conventionally, how do you, posit, in what way that you could explain that the existence, conventional exists something's an event.
되게 내가 가르치 가마데 내가 가르치었잖아. 다 쉬로 메디 발라서 대다기 타녀도 요지. 아니 뭐 대다기 타녀도 요지 타녀도 여바대야. 엄마 타녀율로라 대담바 매고 마세. 교조대야 요 말했어. 교조대야 켈랭고 말했어. 엄마 뜻이 조소지 춘은 되바대 엄마 타녀 교조대야 켈랭고.
So there, what it says is now, this conventional existence accepted by the non-Buddhist scholars, or in other words, non-Buddhist philosophers and Buddhist essentialist schools, is completely rejected by the Madhyamakas, particularly the Madhyamaka Prasangyikas, and they do not accept. Not only they don't accept their way of accepting conventional existence or nominal existence at the ultimately existence, rather even conventional existence. They reject across the board. Madhyamaka Prasanga is rejecting the existence of the conventional existence, ultimate existence, which is accepted or asserted by the non-Buddhist philosophers as well as Buddhist essentialists.
That there da 당연히 엄마 타줘요로 소소지 조용수 저거랑 시지 저거요 말아왔어. 그래서 지지 저거면은 타녀도 여러 와서는 만나 타녀도 연나 간지 요 그래. 네 타녀도
Now,
요지도.
now the question is here. In the Madhyamaka, according to Madhyamaka Prasangika, there's no such things that exist inherently. Even a conventional existence doesn't have inherent existence. If this is how, then how can you establish conventional existence? So here we will be discussing further about the way Madhyamaka Prasangika's way of understanding conventional existence of phenomena.
타녀도 연나 차진을 송송 대다 여번 되거든 매번 되고 진짜시 요거네 저거 인연나 아서 타니비 셰발라 잡아 인바 지지 타녀도 연나 나 타니비 처음에서는 타니비 셰발라 잡아 지지 아니 제타 잡이 된텔라 타니비 참아 제주 문에 받아 니지 대코나니 대코나니라 ranxin ju yuemi cujin de shubi ribe mneba ribe neba meba ba shi ne tanye de yoba de la se tanye de na cha che de sun cong.
So now here the Madhyamaka's way of explaining how the Madhyamaka actually accepts the existence of conventional existence is here now. We read the three ways in which the Madhyamaka actually explains existence of conventionality. So here it says we hold that something exists conventionally. First it says, and if it is known to conventional consciousness, next, and then if no other conventional valid cognition contradicts its being as it is thus known, and if reason that accurately analyzes reality, that is, analyzes whether something intrinsically exists, does not contradict it, we hold that what fails in to meet those criteria does not exist.
대달은 도반에 tanye de me do so do 근데 차체 대수 마상이 지라 tanye 유를 tanye de yese 말에 되는 메시지.
Then it says the reason that accurately analyze reality, that is, and analyze whether something that intrinsically exists does not contradict it, we hold that what fails to meet those criteria does not exist conventionally.
당가서 타니비 시발라 잡아서디 타니비 시바스는 간지질을 세그레 나와이나 아세고 열라 타니비 시바네 소도 추 강라야 제타 나와 따지 제스 주버 상 인지 나이 된데 로데라 나와 딱 자마이 야 말이나原的된지 인시데다 주버 인양도 메시비 시바 레 시바 마다 반주바 나서 어서 데니라 마시베 시바샤이 예스 아마 틴데사레 따범네 따버레 따바 예메시바 미노서.
So now it talks about it says, in a sense, the conventional consciousness operates in non-inquisitive manners. So we talked about the conventional valid cognitions earlier. What is conventional valid cognitions? So here it is explaining what is meant by conventional valid cognitions. It says, in the sense, the conventional consciousness operates in a non-inquisitive manner. It operates only within the context of how a given phenomena appears to it, without analyzing. Is this how the object actually exists, or does it just appears this way to my mind? It is called non-analytical consciousness, but it is not the case that it's utterly non-inquisitive. It operates within the context of how things appears, how they are known to the worldly or conventional consciousness.
당가서 이치를 가져가시나 근데 주 시비 타녀의 주부걸 주 시비 타녀의 따바상의 지그리마도 주 시비 타녀의 주사들라 아니 두드 민두기 제바 마시바지 거래스 아니 야나 따바 자원이는 저거 마셔봐야 말했어. 근데 주도 주의 매게 따지 마셔봐 말했어. 시바도 들리지 그랬어. 뭐
Now, the conventional consciousness, the valid conventional valid consciousness is something that really it's clearly mentioned that it operates within the context of how the given phenomena appears. It says, right. It is not something that it says consciousness operates in a non-inquisitive manner. In other words, as when a conventional valid cognition is when the conventional valid cognition perceives form, there is no analysis is applied. There's no such application of analysis, actual mode of existence of that form and so forth. It is just mere form. The form has been perceived, and form that is perceived as it is, and it has not gone through any further analysis, but rather just mere perceiving of the form is said to be the conventional.
타타님이 시바서 들리진지. 타타님이 이제 템비 시바서는 간대질에서 그래서 당가서 이제 템 잡아서. 단지 타님이 이제 템비 시바 만에서 타님이 시바라 잡아다 만내면서 되지. 제가 잡아다 타니 이제 만내서 되지. 가서 맞서 타니 시바라 잡아다서 이제 템비 타니 시바라 잡아다서 그래. 하나 간대질에서. 근데 이제 템바 타님이 시바텔라 제단 하신 잡았던 주께서 인루제 다 인세는 주가 미비 시를 이제 대제 잡아 시샤와 인비 내가 시반에 주텔로 주마주가 통제라 오예 전자식이 주란 주장 제때 잡아 마시비 시바 시샤이 자 주탈로 마주인 제때바 콘주를 여바 민주고서 주텔로 주와 제타 타니도 잡았다 따라오면 때 코나니 인슈비 셰바 인칼라고스 때는 제때비 잡아 제타 인은 제때주 개부 주타다 저 코나는 좋아 마이지 거쇼거지 줄라 마시비로 주츠라 제탄두 대배 줘봐 이노서
So without analyzing this, is this how the object actually exists, or does it just appear this way to my mind? It says it is called the non-analytical consciousness, but it is not the case that what is utterly non-inquisitive, right? So it is utterly non-inquisitive. It operates within the context of how things appears, how they are known, and to a worldly or the conventional consciousness. It does not operate via analysis of how things actually exist. This is very clearly mentioned here. So therefore, it is called mundane knowledge. This kind of consciousness occurs in all persons, whether or not they have become involved in the philosophical tenet system. That's no matter whose mind stem occurs in. This is called mundane knowledge, or the non-analytical consciousness. Do not suppose that it exists only in the mind stream of those worldly persons who are not involved in the philosophical system. Those who are involved in the such system may often have mind that analyze its conventional knowledge, accurate. Or does this object exist in this way in reality? Still, how could all of this consciousness analyze how things actually exist? Therefore, if you want to understand what worldly knowledge is, and you cannot ask only those worldly elders who hold the philosophical tenets. However, it is not sufficient to consider how non-analytical mind operates in the mind stems of the two parties in debate. What this consciousness know is that perceptual or the experiential basis for the constructions of the conventional language.
제당 가서 때로 저도 넘바게 로동에 가서 이제 대게 가진사나요. 지 수직이 탄이 다니 뭐 쉬우지 가서 지탱 가서 지탱 게비 가진사나요. 또 히트여를 나다. 지단
So generally, we all have that. We have a conventionally. We have a way of saying things in conventionally. We have a certain terminologies that is used all the conventional persons, right?
양아서 줄루는시 줄루세거라 탄예제데 지대바다 지대랜데바세데요. 덴바고선도 통마통 있잖아요. 지대랜데바세 된려 탄예제.
So then when it comes to the worldly and transworldly is, according to the teachings of the Dharma, worldly and transworldly is based on whether or not individual have gained insight into the ultimate nature of reality.
되게 지대바세 된려 계셔면 시야지. 쟁용전이 용타지.
However, when we talk about
로지도 마주가 강가슬라도 로지도 마주가 세디가라 있는 가서 지대 주마게 탄예 다등에. 아니 조달로 징에게 켈렌딩에. 저기 팀모하지마도 인지미지 가제바전에 일을 주고 이렇게 참 말했어.
However, in the mundane knowledge or the worldly knowledge or worldly conventional consciousness, we talked about in this particular context, we're not talking about the conventional and transworldly, and the worldly and transworldly person as we normally talk about in accordance with Dharma, in accordance to Dharma. Rather, this worldly mundane knowledge, worldly knowledge or the mundane knowledge or the worldly consciousness is possessed by all of us, whether one is one is involved in the philosophical system or one is not involved in the philosophical system. This conventional knowledge and conventional or the mundane knowledge is possessed by all of us.
변화가서 본바시비 탄예된 지대 잡이 탄예를 나다. 내가 아니 지대 급여 탄예의 생에 되게 지대 급여 본바라 그래. 아니 이를 제바 전용에 만용에 본바세라 그래. 본바세 러바선지 침바레마도 뭐 본비들로 가이 제바 제그 말에 대쟁인데 탄예비 쓰마 말에.
So here, when we talk about conventional consciousness or the conventional non-analytical conventional consciousness is, for instance, when we use term Pumpa or the Ves, right? Ves. The term Ves, as soon as we say the term Ves, and you follow the thought of knowing that Ves, but you're not, this thought is not inquisitive at all. It doesn't inquire any questions. It doesn't ask any questions. It doesn't analyze how this waste exists, the existence of the waste. It's not at all. It is just mere following the term waste and having a thought of understanding the waste itself.
시바들 잡아내서 너 뉴에 탄예도 비주저바 나서 레데다 사나라 소바 페발라 마다 페발라 나자 토바다 뇨알라 소비 유데 시비체 예제 제다 이미 시비 시바랑가오나 나와 예제 제텐제 잡아 많이 비춰 매도스 아니 저랑이 되는세나 아니 레전드 단다 상하게 상황으로서 버다 타니 되면 좋고 말이와 기땡 게버터서 타니 제거 말이와서나 가와야 말이 용하다 아니 냐냐게 토노라라 아니 기땡 잡아래 있어 이게 저 많이 비춰 기땡 잡아 많이 비춰야 말 맞아 이텔레 참모도서 나서 시가 말이와서나 저야 말이에서 카툴라나
Now here it says ordinary people who do not understand karma in its effect, the levels of path, or the such matters. But they hear about the experience, they hear about and experience them, thereby taking them as an object, as this is so. They appear even to ordinary consciousness, that they are not analyzing how things actually exist. We thus avoid the fallacy that this would not be things that the world knows. That's all.
这啥？当然他你比什么先进门的把是不多的我的，他你比什么先进门的把呢是别呢，他把了就罗让把糖米酒那吃我娘的人把呢，一路接待接待饮血把没比路中啊饮没讲，这种于当了他你比前面。那边接到他那的样那把钱咯，说对不？
Okay, here now, next is other conventional valid cognition do not contradict that which exists conventionally. For example, it says, a consciousness that does not analyze how things actually exist may think that a rope is a snake or that the mirage is a water. However, the conventional valid cognition does not contradict the object apprehended by the such consciousness. So those objects do not exist even conventionally.
这卡里山呢，他你比车马进去那把老边呢，他把那猪罗生的这些，他把猪嘛一般这边给他你比车马进去过了那个了，没就去是的，没就去的去人真的给得了，没就去的去嘛一般东西那的，过了车马进去那边大的是，嘛东俺这边呢，我把那个进了高都比前面那个嘛的，肉都比前面那个嘛的哇，可是那等着车马等着进那那，他那的没事了过也是的。
Because, for example, here that the consciousness that uh, uh, actually the consciousness that think that rope is a snake is actually contradicted by the conventional consciousness, right? Because it's the rope itself is not actually a snake, right? So therefore, it contradicts directly by the conventional consciousness. Similarly, the mirage as a water is contradicted by the conventional consciousness, because just knowing the vase as a vase is not contradicted by conventional consciousness, even though that conventional consciousness not going through the analysis of whether or not the vase exists intrinsically or not.
老巴东我说你天天弄弄，我那里都怎么这都写的，怎么样呢？我那人怎么的那的，他你们怎么解决那些的，他说的怎么查的不点帮忙的哇？你嘛多我那人呢，怎么解决没那查的不点帮的些，他人就是对的，我说点帮的真是就当
So
一
whether
点了查。
the worldly, worldly conventions of whether or not right or wrong is something that is contradicted by the reality, right? It's something that someone who says something that is someone who says something that actually contradicts to the reality, then that someone is not really not saying the truth, not telling the truth. Similarly, when things that doesn't exist, if one has an idea of being existed, something that doesn't exist, then that is then directly contradicted by the conventional consciousness.
的确，他点的去，他送把的嘞，他让些有没自己的水平，日别那把没办法呢，送的，他那都就别等呢，他那边前面就国讲，让些有没自己的水平，日别西边呢，那把同学都没那把，你把国际，日把的，要把住那呢，让给我要把住吧，因别。 타니도 타니비 되이바 개와지노 와서
There it says, a reasoning consciousness that accurately analyzes whether something intrinsically exists does not contradict it, that which exists conventionally. What is posited conventionally must be established by conventional valid cognition. In addition, reasoning consciousness that accurately analyzes whether it intrinsically exists definitely must not contradict it in definitely not contradict in any way.
당가서 될 거대로 식질만 보고 있는 간절히 sana 배나 Zula Zu kono tanya de yo de me singi de Zul zimbi ye ta kan je zonji tseme yo me ta gre ma do Zu ye nelu sebi ye nelu yo de me rajin to yo de me sanare nelu tsenge te ge Zu yo me tse ma ro wa me tse di ne shi ma ke si nelu jonge ye Zu yo de me sene Zu yo ba thon so na Zu de ba to ba cha ro ma do tanya to ba cha ma re se.
So the difference between this mere understanding the form and and consciousness that actually analyzing how the form exists is a very different way. It's a very different, right? Because the consciousness perceiving form is not analyzing how the form actually exists. It is just mere perceiving form itself. There's no further, analysis processes gone through it. Whereas consciousness that analyzes how the form actually exists, then that go through all kind of analysis to find the way in which the form actually exists, the actual existence of the form.
Tēnā ye pēnā ngā sō la pēnā rāñi la kālo ngi na ngā sō jī ñānglēn de chēngi dā yāng gāshā ngōn de ngi tēri na tāndā ngā sō pēnā rāñi ye tānyē tā na tānyē kōrō ye tēwi kā la kō yō me dā nēlū chēngi ye lō chī ye kō yō me tā chī tāng kō ma de kō yō me yō bā de ngō sō chō wā tā yō de ngā ndū de mi ndū chēngi ye tā chī chēngi de nēlū tōng me lō te nēlū chē me lō te Nilu zubi lo tegi kuyi nilu su chu du mendu sene zaje to nilu du zenge ye lo tegi nilu chuba yo so na demba chuba yo kore ese ko ro demba chuba yo so na ane tanya tu chuba gagri kano teme tu yo sa sene ane tanan gawa ino se tere ngaso kansa rangi le chi ja ina nga yo da me senge de ane chida tanya tu nga yo me la zaje chi tang yo ma yo ba te mo sun chu go nyoe chu go 도월 대월 사회 통과 다원은 안 두데 미두 생이디 내루 가는 도무도 깨져.
So when we talk about conventional I, the conventional consciousness perceive the conventional I, there's no further analysis of how this I exists, not at all. We're just thinking about ourselves. When we think about ourselves, we think about ourselves and then existence of the I, and just mere having conception of I is a conventional consciousness that establishes the conventional phenomena. However, when it comes to the consciousness which analyzes mode of existence of the I, then it's is going through process, all kind of process of analysis, in other words, to find whether or not how this the conventional, how this I or self is actually exists, in what manner that I or self is actually existed. So if this conventional, if this analytical consciousness can find the ultimately existence of the I at the end of analytical process, then such I exists intrinsically, and such I doesn't exist independently, but rather intrinsically.
그래서 탄예도 여발라 엄마 탄제 요로라 탄예도 여발라 차진송 상벌 세대 아니 저다 탄예비 시발라 잡아지 아니 탄예비 참아 젠다기 아니 콜라 메네 바지 아니 라니 세나레 넬루 여다메 세베기 로테기 녀바 마바바지 요소나 아니 엄마 탄제 요로라 탄예 싸도 여 세대 과들네.
So now we read earlier about that there are 3 points made by the Madhyamaka Prasanghikas, why they accept conventional existence. It says, we hold something that exists conventionally. First, it said, if it is known to conventional consciousness, is the first. Then the second is that if no other convention of valid cognition contradicts its being as it is, that's known. And then third, it says if reason that accurately analyze reality, that is, analyzes whether something that intrinsically exists does not contradict it. So those are the 3 points made by the Madhyamaka Prasanghikas acceptance of the existence of conventional existence. Now let's do our dedication prayers here. So to do the dedication, first of all, one need to know what is to be dedicated. What is, in other words, what is the substance that is to be dedicated? In other words, here, we're dedicating the dedication. The substance of dedication here is all those the virtues that has been virtues of great beings such as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, and the virtues that it accumulated, the merit that was accumulated by oneself and that of all other beings, and then also particularly the virtue that we have accumulated by listening to the teachings or the discussions on this emptiness for the last 2 hours, and then also in particular at this point, the discussion that we had was on emptiness, and so emptiness. So therefore, one should dedicate towards realization of emptiness, gaining the realization of emptiness, before long, by identifying and understanding the object of negations and gaining the yoga of unity, of shamatha and special insights. May all sentient beings and myself be able to gain such realizations. May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to bless me to be able to have such realizations in near future.
Jambe Yang Seve Jason, Yembe Rembo Guzon Jeju, Yene Rubi Jeno Nishu, Rangi Jijin Bobe Nanjane, Shoro Seve Zhangye Nage, Doye Yuje Mimba Sejane, Doye Demba Yurin Zinjuje, Nambo Renjin Choge Manjamo, Chajan Yamo Jube Shoden, Ninja Jimbe Yero Juboye, Pindi Dede Sewa Shebo Sho, Joye Mijon Chen, Lu Zhang Zhu Lang Zhu Ren Be Zhang, Tan De Nang Zhu Ye Lang Be De Shen, Jia Yuan Ze Ba Ren Do Zhong Zhu Jie, Ma Zhang Zhu Bi Di Jin Zhu Xie Jin, Ge Jin Si Jin Me Dang Mi Mi Gen, Xie Rao Gun Do Jia Ye Ma Bo Ye, Ma Do Long Dong De Wa Ma Zhu Jie, Hong Zi De Ba Chu La Chu Chu Jie, Zhi Jin Zhu La Zhu Ba De Yue Se, Tu Dian Na Zhi Da Du Zhu Xie Jin, Zha Xi Jiang Zi Zhu, Jiu Jiu Yi Ji, Jiu Zhe La Mian Gu Cai Rao Dian Jin, Nang Guo Chen De Shu Zhu Jie Bo Dong, Lo Zang Dian Bi Zhi Mian Sa Song Jie, Du Ye Min Xin Dong, Nian Jiu Yi Ji, Hong Zhe Zha Mian Gu Yi Xin Hong Su, Nian Dong De Wa Ma Li Zhong Yuan, Xin Ri Zi Wa De Zhi Jiao Su Yi, Xiao Bi Xin Ji Mo, Dun Jiu Yi Ji, Jiang Bi Bo Yi Ji Da Qian Ba Dong, Zhong Bo De Yang De Jian De, Da Da Gun Jue Ji Si Da Lu Xie, Ye Wan De Da Tang Ji Rao Du Mo, De Song Xi Bian Jiang, Dong Ji Ji, Hong Wang Gong Na Chu Du Ma Bo De, Da Jin Ge Yue Sa Wa De Ge Jiang, Zong Bo Shi Ji Rao Du Mo Ji. 哎呀，就这样啊，
那时候东西，
对对，有，俺们你们的，俺们你们操这么简单的啊？印度，对，印度看见了，俺的看那这的，你碰的，赶紧这个，这是真的。你给碰的也别去特别着些。
phone Rinpoche.
印度看见真的了。
Oh, this is Rinpoche is asking that when you go to Canada, is his phone, can he use his phone or not?
可是这个从我媳妇的，我们教你是这样的，两个节都去了。
I believe he can, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem.
그 강에 요머서 Rinpoche 비전 난 되겠어. 개개 요머서.
You can use your phone in India now.
No, that's different. That's different. That's the same
야, 야,
as-
니 도대체.
Let's all Rinpoche, let's.
Okay. Yeah, to
Okay.
chef.
야, thank you.
That's different.